wartime law. The president invoked the Alien Enemies Act on March 15th to swiftly deport the alleged members of the Tren de Aragua gang, attempting to speed up removals with a law best known for its use to intern Japanese, Italian, and German immigrants during World War II. Supreme Court Justice John Roberts pausing a lower court order requiring the Trump administration to return a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador back to the U.S.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia was arrested and deported last month after U.S. immigration officials accused him of being an MS-13 gang member. Garcia's attorneys deny any sort of gang affiliation. They filed a response late today in which the lawyers wrote he's never been charged with a crime in any country. He is not wanted by the government of El Salvador. He sits in a foreign prison solely at the behest of the United States as a product of a Kafkaesque mistake.
Fox's Mark Meredith. In 2019, a judge gave Garcia protection against being deported to El Salvador, but the Justice Department said it shouldn't have to bring him home since he's not in U.S. custody. The cleanup continues in parts of the Midwest and South after several days of deadly storms, and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he plans to tell the CDC soon to stop recommending fluoridation in water nationwide. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
One more person arrested for the murder. Freeze warning tonight, says the National Weather Service. 26 is the expected low. Flood warnings for Shelbyville and areas south still thanks to all the rain. I'm Chris Davis. Here's what's trending. You may remember the murder of Lowell Badger in Sullivan County. He was a farmer who was killed December 8, 2012. Sergeant Matt Ames, Indiana State Police, says another person has been arrested in Badger's killing.
Through their investigation efforts, they were able to get an additional individual charged with this crime, and it's Arthur Lee Grimes, who is currently at the Reception Diagnostic Center located in Plainfield.
That warrant was served Monday at the prison facility. The property tax bill passing the House Ways and Means Committee Monday with 25 amendments attached now. Representative Cherish Pryor was one of the no votes. She says if you're one of the ones suffering the financial fallout, you should feel the relief.
And I appreciate the fact that we're giving some relief to everybody, but the people who need that relief the most, are they going to be the ones that are going to receive the bulk of this $1.3 billion relief?
It now goes back to the state Senate. Inappropriate sexual behavior with a minor. The charge against Timothy Bulow, a teacher at Roosevelt Middle School in Monticello. Police say Bulow was arrested Thursday and is still being held in jail. Bulow has been suspended pending termination. I'm Chris Davis, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Flood warning still in effect for Shelbyville South, most of the southern half of Indiana. Tonight, scattered flurries are possible with a low at 26 and a freeze warning. The high at 45 Tuesday with scattered flurries again possible in the morning. For 93 WIBC, I'm Chris Davis.
If you love spring in Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty, and we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Now through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Tony Kinnett.
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 Host of the Tony Kinnett Cast.
Let's get down to business.
You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WYBC.
CYTV.
Here on the Daily 60.
70 countries have reached out to President Trump. They want to start having negotiations immediately about the tariffs and his announcement. Welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm your host for today. My name is Jerry Lopez. You can find me on Twitter under Indy Spanglish. Lot to cover today. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. If you're not familiar with me, I have a really cool segment called Hold the L, where we basically give an award to the biggest loser of the week. You're not going to want to miss that one. And a long time coming, we finally have our IBSU Not segment, where I'm going to tell you something, you're going to hear something, it's going to completely blow your mind. So, like I said, my name is Jerry Lopez. For those of you that don't know me, I fill in all the time here at WIBC and also on the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm a first-generation American. My family's from Cuba, military vet, longtime conservative, and love to just speak to people and give people a fresh perspective. So let's dig into this tariff stuff. So I don't know if a lot of you are familiar. It's Jim Cramer. He's a TV personality, author, former hedge fund manager. He offers up investment advice. He has his own show. He's kind of over the top. He predicted that today was going to be a Black Monday. Everything was going to go down. Well, at the end of the day, the NASDAQ actually finished up just a little bit. The S&P 500 and the Dow were down just a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what he said. And now we have people coming back. They want to talk to President Trump, and they want to make a deal. Okay, they want to make a deal. So the Trump effect is at work. But I want to hop on our Bill and Ted phone booth, and we're going to take a little trip down memory lane real quick.
These are the circuits of history, gentlemen. They'll take us to any point in time we wish.
All right, the year is 2018, and Barack Obama is talking about tariffs. Let's see what he had to say.
When it comes to the international system of commerce and trade, it's legitimate for poorer countries to continue to seek access to wealthier markets. And by the way, wealthier markets, that's not the big problem that you're having. A small African country is sending you tea and flowers. That's not your biggest economic challenge. It's also proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity from nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries, to make sure that they're providing access to their markets and that they stop taking intellectual property and hacking our servers.
So he said the word reciprocity, and that means what you do to us, we're going to do to you. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is saying to these countries. Whatever you put on us, we're just going to put on you. Okay? And the United States is the #1 importer and consumer of the world. A lot of countries in this world, their whole economy depends on us importing their goods. Okay? So when he says we have a bad trade deal, we're importing goods, we're paying extra taxes on those goods, but we are not making out on those because we're paying so much in taxes. We have a senator from Nebraska. Her name is Deb Fischer. She's going to talk a little bit more about it, and then she's going to talk about how this is actually affecting Nebraskans. Check this out.
But I want to give the president time. That's where I'm at, and that's where Nebraskans are, too. To be able to give the president time. As you quoted what he had put up this morning, I agree with those points. We're seeing a decrease in oil prices. We're seeing food prices come down. Here in Congress, we are looking at spending cuts to get spending under control. We're looking at getting rid of a lot of regulations out there. All of that is part of this package.
We're not even 100 days into his presidency, and people are already freaking out, okay? None of this stuff has really come to fruition yet. We need to just be patient and relax. But if you want a really great example of how tariffs affect your home state, how it will affect your infrastructure in your state, maybe your state is really big on exports, and you're exporting to other countries. How do tariffs affect people in Nebraska?
So when we wait for the president's tariffs to be able to have an impact on the unfair trade practices that we have seen against ag producers, against manufacturing here in America, we want to make sure that we're going to be addressing that. Right now, for example, ethanol. Nebraska is an ethanol state. Yep. We are the second largest producer. When we talk about ethanol, ethanol from Brazil comes in with no tariff right now, none. They pay zero. Yep. But yet when we export ethanol to Brazil, 18%.
And see that? That's a great example right there. We don't charge them anything extra to bring that in, but they're charging us 18% to export to them. And that's what Donald Trump wants to get rid of, okay? So when countries remove all tariffs, when they remove trade barriers, when they commit to buying American goods, and they commit to investing in American manufacturing, and Taiwan has already offered all this, and other countries will follow, then we will have free trade in this world. And I think that is the ultimate goal. Now, when we think about Republican, Democrat, left, right, when we talk unions, they don't usually agree with the right. That's usually a left thing. So when you talk about one of the biggest unions in the country, like the United Auto Workers, you wouldn't expect them to agree with Donald Trump's policy, would you?
President Trump argues that these tariffs are needed to bring American manufacturing back and to help American workers left behind in places like Minnesota. He has support from the UAW. The UAW called his auto tariffs, quote, a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country rather than the greed of ruthless corporations, unquote.
Yeah, so there it is right there. Even the UAW is like, man, it's about time somebody stood up for us. Now, not to be outdone, there is actually a representative in Congress that just announced that he wants to introduce legislation to block President Trump's ability to levy tariffs on other nations. I mean, this is so anti-American, it makes no sense. And the fact that that's actually a piece of legislation that he's trying to push.
I know you are introducing companion legislation to what Senator Cantwell just laid out for us. But as I understand it, in the House, Republican leaders have already restricted the ability to rein in changes to the Mexico, Canada, and China tariffs. They tucked language into the continuing resolution. Does that get in your way when you are trying to now claw back some congressional control of tariffs?
Well, first of all, good morning, Margaret. Thanks for having me on. And I enjoyed listening to Senator Cantwell. I support the legislation that Senator Grassley, Senator Cantwell, we have a total of 7 Republicans in the Senate. And I have some beginning support on the House side, which we'll unveil tomorrow. It will be harder to pass this in the House, no doubt. I think if we get 60 votes in the Senate, they'll put pressure on the House to look at this. And if we continue to see the stock market go a certain direction, or if we see inflation or unemployment shift in a bad way, I think then this bill becomes a very viable bill. So it will not pass tomorrow or maybe in the next couple of weeks, but this will be in the queue that we can use. And it's time that Congress restores its authorities here. And the Constitution is clear. The House and the Senate, Congress has the power of tariffs and taxes, and we gave some of that power to the executive branch. And I think in hindsight, that was a mistake.
Well, since we're recommending ridiculous bills, I'd like to recommend this next executive order for President Trump.
This executive order is for allowing people who are complaining about your tariffs to be permanently labeled as whiny, retarded, sad little bitches.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening?
Hey, next segment, we got Hold the L. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on WIBC and the Daily Signal.
Matt Bear knows how to break the traffic press.
I-70 is packed tight. There's a blue Chevy trying to drive the lane, but it's facing tough D from the semi.
Matt Bear sees the openings, finds the best routes, and keeps you moving.
Watch out. 465 Construction is using a wicked zone with cones blocking the right side, forcing everyone into the middle.
Matt Bear traffic.
Complete gridlock in the paint.
Navigating traffic madness.
Fast break on I-69. Hit the gas.
Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. Booher. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. Booher. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back?
Hi, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Joining me now is really the head of the whole company. Lance thinks he's the boss, but it's really not. It's Jennifer. You're the proud mother of LD Smith Plumbing, whether you want the job or not. How much fun is it to see those 5-star reviews?
It is the best. We love to review those with the guys. To see their smiling faces and know that we have done such a good job in the field is just priceless. My goal is always to make their day a little bit easier. For any plumbing issue, it's ldsmithplumbing.com.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. 500 Guns is your classic old-school gun shop with the best service in Indy. You have to experience it to believe it. Joe and Guy Montgomery and their friendly staff are there to help you if you're a first-time gun owner or looking to add to your collection. They buy and sell single guns or entire collections. Visit 500 Guns today on West 16th Street, just east of the Speedway, or find 500 Guns on Facebook.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. April is here, so that means it's our Dare to Compare sale. Compare our prices to any of the big stores in Indianapolis, your town, it doesn't matter. We guarantee you the lowest price on every sofa, sectional, recliner, mattress, outdoor furniture, anything, plus no extra fees, no delivery charge. Hurry, sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
I'm ready. Let me just grab my bag. Sweatpants, huh? Didn't know we were keeping it casual this month. Yeah, I feel bloated every now and then. You have to try new Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies. They have prebiotics to nourish good bacteria, probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating, and postbiotics for immune support. All that in one gummy? Yep. So no sweatpants next time? Not anymore.
Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies for gut health support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text MONEY to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
The Phone Ready quiz from the American Academy of Pediatrics will help you decide if you and your child are ready for their first phone. Go to healthychildren.org/phone ready quiz.
Is transgenderism the only mental illness that demands the rest of society actually adopt the patient's delusions as part of the patient's treatment? Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93.1 WIBC and the Daily Signal. I'm going to tell you 2 stories, and they both are pretty ridiculous. and they have to deal with men that are being allowed to compete in women's athletics, and not just compete, but just blow people out. So a women's pool tournament in England ended up with 2 men facing off in the final due to a bizarre set of rules they have. We're talking about the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series event, too. It's in Wigan, England. And Harriet Haynes and Lucy Smith, both males, beat 4 women each to reach the finals of the 32-player tournament. All right, now, Haynes gave an interview afterwards and said that he does not consider himself a trailblazer, but rather said he is a woman in all other aspects of his life and his only question in billiards. He actually said, I'm just a woman who's trying to live my life, and all I want to do is be treated the same way as any other woman. The pool player went on to say that he works in an office environment every day where he's treated like a woman every single day in his life. So this is the only place in his life. And the question I have for him is nobody cares if you're typing up an email in the office if you're a guy or a girl. But if your coworkers are getting paid for how many push-ups they can do, I'm sure the females would be a little upset, right? So when we dig into these rules, the rules actually state, so someone's affirmed care, and essentially they're going to reinforce these guidelines while recognizing players simply don't have to make an attempt to change anything about themselves while participating in whatever gender they want, right? So they've gone so far as to say, if you want to identify as a female and only wear dresses, that's fine. You can compete as a female. But the crazy thing here is the UPG has also declared that one of its core missions is to raise the profile and overall standard of the women's game. All right, now, how does this help women at all? You've just had 2 dudes run through all the women, and they're ruining the women's tournament. All right, the rule then immediately states that UPG, it's not going to discriminate against anybody, not gender or gender identity. It's going to support players who are simply in the process of reassigning their sex, even if it only means in a social manner, such as a simple name change or a change of dress. Well, I just have one thing to say to the UPG.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
The next UPG event, allegedly for women, is going to take place on May 23rd. Okay, so let's flash back. All right, this is an event. There's a trans-identified Natalie Ryan, born a male, was competing against the top-ranked professional female disc golfer. Her name's Kristen Tatar in the 2022 MVP Open in Massachusetts. All right, now, to tell you how good Kristen Tatar is, she holds the highest PDGA rating and multiple world championships. Well, after Natalie Ryan, the guy, made his first throw, I mean, do they even really listen to what they're saying?
Natalie puts so much more power on that tee shot.
You don't say. You don't say she puts more power on the tee shot. It's a guy, a big guy, throwing a disc golf, and we're supposed to be impressed that he throws farther than the 120-pound female? Like, in what world do we have to agree with this delusion? All right, well, this past weekend, another opponent of Natalie Ryan that I mentioned before, Abigail Wilson, said, you know what? I'm not even going to compete in this. All right? She was mad that Natalie Ryan was allowed to compete in the female division, and she took a step that a lot more females need to take.
All right, make some noise for Abigail Wilson.
Gabby.
Females must be protected in our division. This is unfair. I refuse to play.
Females must be protected in our division.
Have a nice round, everyone.
We will. Definitely will.
Have a nice round. Wow, you hear that? Somebody just yelled, enjoy the couch.
And that's how we're supporting females. She stands up there and says, this is unfair. I will not be participating. And I believe that was a female that was chirping her on the way out. Enjoy the couch. Right? How is this defending female sports? How is this picking up the female and making things equal? Right? Like, this is the side that stood against the quote-unquote patriarchy that is literally letting beta males go over and just ruin female athletics. And it's nice to see Abigail Wilson take a stand. We've been seeing it in other places. We saw it in fencing last week where a player kneeled and said, I'm not going to go against this guy. I do think transgenders have a right to participate, but I do think it needs to be in a co-ed division, an open division, something along those lines, okay? So it's time for your favorite segment until you hear the IBSU not in the next one. It's time for Hold the L with Jerry Lopez. This is pretty ridiculous. So this is the Nation columnist. His name's Eli Mistel. He appeared on The Breakfast Club, which is like an R&B talk show that happens out of New York. If you're familiar with the name Charlemagne, he's on that show. He had this to say about the Constitution.
South Africa got over apartheid. Did they just go back to their Afrikaner racist constitution and be like, oh, we just need a couple of amendments. We just need a couple of changes here to make it work? No, they threw the whole thing out and started again, this time asking everybody. Wow. This time having a completely new delegation of all of the people of South Africa, not just the white folks, but not no white folks. And they came up with a new constitution. It's one of the reasons why the South African constitution is generally thought of as one of the best constitutions in the world. And ours continues to be a piece of crap.
So what laws would you kick out immediately? What laws are you saying it needs to get the out of here?
Yeah, so the first one I have in my book is that I want to eliminate every single voter registration law.
What?
All of them.
What? Every voter registration law? Why would they? Surely he's got to explain that a little bit more. I mean, it makes no sense, right? Like, there has to be some kind of rule for this, right? Voter registration protects all of us. So we got to hear what he has to say, because you can't just say you want to get rid of voter registration laws. So let's see what he says.
Eliminate every single voter registration law. All of them. All of them in every state are bad, right? That's different from voter eligibility. If you're eligible to vote, you should just be able to rock up to the polls and vote. So we could just get rid of all of them. We could just get rid of all of them. And the people will say, like, oh, well, we can't do that because of voter fraud, right? Well, first of all, and I know this is going to be hard for some listeners who spend a lot of time listening to Republican lies, but voter fraud does not exist.
Mr. Mistel, I encourage you to go to the following website. It's electionfraud.heritage.org, where there are confirmed cases of voter fraud. I'll tell you that again, electionfraud.heritage.org. But you know what? Congratulations, bub. You get to hold today's L. Hey, next segment, IBSU Not's finally here, baby, and it is going to be a doozy. Make sure you're back. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on WIBC and the Daily Signal.
WindowNation.com, that's where you go to replace your cold, drafty windows with energy-efficient ones from Window Nation, like I did. I love my Window Nation windows. I've saved a ton on energy bills, and your new windows can be installed in 1 day or less.
Go big or go home. And that's what they're doing at Window Nation. Right now, get four windows for free with every 4 that you buy. And there's no limit. The more you buy, the more free ones you get. 0 interest, 0 payments for 2 years. You don't pay anything until 2027, and you get 4 windows for free when you buy 4. And on top of that, get a free entry door when you buy a house full of windows. This deal is not going to be around forever, so you got to hustle. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead and pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of, why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal. Like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that will cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery at the corner of 30th and Shadeland, or the newest location off 86th and Ditch Road. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place, your place for lunch. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe, ever. And ever since then, now I can breathe.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNose.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Quality Supply and Tool, your premier supplier of construction equipment, tools, and supplies, is hiring CDL drivers. Call Brian Myers at 317-690-2016.
But somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn his TV off, turn his TV off.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm your host for tonight. We're halfway through the show. This segment is finally here. For those of you that don't know me, Indy Spanglish on Twitter. My road to WIBC was a little bit different. I came from social media. I spent a lot of time on social media. I know a lot of you people from social media, but also I understand a lot of you guys don't have time to look at social media. You probably get a lot of news from right here at WIBC or the Daily Signal. So let's take a trip around the internet, and I'll catch you up on some crazy stories. All right, so Colorado has a House Bill 1312. All right, so the Colorado House Democrats just passed a bill that clarifies misgendering your own child as child abuse. It could cause you to lose custody if you don't affirm your child's chosen gender. All right, so introduced into this bill says it defines misgendering as child abuse. Parents could lose custody of their kids for using the wrong pronouns. Also, it shields parents who traffic children into Colorado for irreversible gender surgeries, nullifying other state laws and court orders. It forces every school, including charters, to adopt radical gender transition policies, and it redefines misgendering and dead naming as discrimination. It forces every Colorado business to bow to this ideological belief, or you're going to face lawsuits. All right, so that's crazy already, but let's stay in the state of Colorado. All right, so a city in Colorado, North Glen, it's about 40 minutes outside of Denver, is putting a new law in place that is going to limit the amount of animals that you can have in one house. All right, so on August 1st, pet owners in North Glen will not be allowed to have more than 4 cats, dogs, or a combination of 2, totally no more than 4. The restriction was introduced after concerned residents complained of excessive noise and waste caused by a high number of pets in some neighborhoods. Basically, people weren't picking up their dog's poop, and now they want to create a law, okay? But any resident who currently has more pets than are allowed can apply for a previously owned pet exception before the ordinance comes into effect. If the application is filled out before the date, North Glen citizens will be allowed to keep their existing pets. We're still waiting for comment from the crazy cat lady, though.
They call her the cat lady. People say she's crazy just because she has a few dozen cats. But can anyone who loves animals that much really be crazy?
Do you remember when Rep. Jasmine Crockett said this about Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who's in a wheelchair?
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Governor of Hot Wheels. All right, well, you didn't expect to hear this. This past weekend, Chris Cuomo and Bill Maher said the only reason that Representative Jasmine Crockett wasn't canceled for her remarks is, well, I'll let you hear it for yourself.
There's a
I did his
crippled
first
character on Joe the Cop.
Yeah.
And they make 1,000 jokes about it.
But he's a comic.
But it just shows you that, you can joke about these things without
I'm fine with it. But when you
making
cancel one person,
No,
but
no, I
because it's a
agree.
black woman
you're
who's
right.
doing it, they're not going to cancel her.
Totally.
That's the problem.
You're right. She wears the magic armor. She wears a magic armor so she can do that. Yes, you're right. And both parties do that. Like when you're in our side, like if I made a fat joke about anybody in the world, how dare you from the left? If you make it about Trump or Chris Christie, it's just hysterical.
That's right.
All right, though. So that's a fact, right? That's a fact. When you think of the Summer of Love, what race, what color were the majority of most of those people burning down gas stations, attacking people, and what came of that, right? Yet after January 6th, they were able to identify people 5 years later by their eyebrows and put them in jail for forever, right? So valid point, valid point. So this one is kind of closer to home. This is in the state of Indiana. All right. So for those of you that aren't aware, we have kind of a controversy that's happening right now that has to do with vehicles. Okay. So this information was sent to me by Indy Reporter, first broke. It also was out on the Indy Star after the fact, but I'll give credit to Whitmer because he's the one that told me about this. Okay. So when the Office of Secretary of State, Diego Morales, requested that the state of Indiana buy him a $90,000 GMC Yukon Denali, a car that's designed to immerse yourself in luxury. Well, they already had a car dealership in mind. All right. And that car dealership was the Kelly Automotive Group. All right. And that Kelly Automotive Group is a Fort Wayne based dealership who 2 months prior donated, wait for it, $25,000 to Morales' political campaign. All right, now, the Kelly Automotive Group is led by a big-time Republican donor named Thomas Kelly. He's donated over $65,000 to Morales' political campaign since October 22, according to the Indiana campaign finance laws. All right, now, he was elected in 2022. He's not up again until 2026. But my question is this. Why would an automotive group donate nearly $375,000 to Indiana Republican-aligned committees and candidates since 2017? Why does an automotive group care that much about who's going to win any of these races? Well, listen, I pride myself on keeping it real. And here's the reality. When you donate to a campaign, you are paying for access to that person. That's what it is. All right. And we like to talk about who's owned by who. And the reality is this: money talks and bull crap walks. Right. So if I'm giving you $375,000 and I'm an automotive campaign and you need to buy new state vehicles, you better come buy them from your boy because I'm giving you all the money. All right. So it is, and it's crazy, and it's imperative that we continue to call this out when we see it, or else you lose all credibility. All right. So to me, this is more important that I bring this up because I stand for the right. But if I let this slide, I lose all credibility. All right. Well, there's a bill that was also introduced here in the state by a Democratic state rep. His name is Mitch Gore. Okay. And it's House Bill 1518. It's headed to the governor's desk to be signed into law. And basically it says state entities are not allowed to purchase non-luxury vehicles. And I got to be honest with you, if I'm paying for it, I'm not mad about it. All right. I'm not mad about it. Did you go see the new Snow White movie? Have you seen the new Snow White movie, Allison? Did you go see that?
I have not seen it.
Are you interested in seeing it?
I'll see it if it comes with my Disney Plus subscription.
So you'll see it if it's $10 a month with everything else.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you sound like everybody else. All right. Disney's Snow White remake is on pace to lose $115 million. All right. Thanks to the lead actress. Okay. Now, according to Deadline, now think about these numbers. It costs $410 million to make the film. It includes $270 million in production costs, another $140 million in promotional related costs. But now that it's out, it has one of the lowest IMDb ratings of all time. It's currently sitting at 1.6 out of 10. All right. Forecasts predict the film will only generate $295 million following a disastrous first couple weeks. The son of the producer, Mark Platt, he's blaming Snow White on the issue, basically saying tens of thousands of people worked on that film. She hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of her colleagues, crew, and blue-collar workers just that were depending on this film to be successful. right? And I agree completely. A lot of us were over the film already because it's not a remake of Snow White. It's a completely different movie. There is no prince. It's all about, feminism, and it's not the story that we were told, okay? And that's all we really want. All right? So President Trump hosted last year's MLB champion Los Angeles Dodgers today. They won the championship last year, and as a Yankee fan, it breaks my heart. But they won the championship. They appeared at the White House, and they shared a really funny moment. Check this out.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team... I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. Washington.
Hey, the greatest troll of all time is in the White House. It's amazing. So it's finally here. I am proud to introduce this segment. If you know me from social media, I have the hashtag #IBullBleepYouNot. This segment we're just going to call IBSYouNot. And this is going to be just something that you probably you're not going to believe, right? Where I grew up, if I was telling you something and it was crazy, I'd be like, I bullcrap you not. Like, it's real, right? So there's going to be a certain speed camera put into California, but the prices are going to change for some reason. Listen to what's going to happen here in California.
San Francisco is launching a new speed safety pilot program backed by Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom, where how much you pay for a speeding ticket depends on who you are. And it's all in the name of equity. On its website, the City Transportation Authority goes out of its way to explain that speed safety cameras will be dispersed across San Francisco in a, quote, equitable fashion. But not everyone will have to pay the same if they get a ticket. Get this. Low-income offenders qualify for steep fine discounts, guys, up to half off. And if you're homeless but speeding in your vehicle, you can get up to 80% discount.
I BS you not. We'll be back here in a couple minutes. We're going to end the show with some bangers. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93.1 WIBC and the Daily Signal.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
we are going to make some noise today.
Eliminate property taxes now.
Hanging out with us, it's fun.
Right.
When you drive home.
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again.
And updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I basically had a perpetual sinus infection where it would clear, get the meds.
And it didn't do anything.
Medications may not really help. They can be a temporary fix instead of trying to find the real root of a breathing triangle problem. And that's Mom chiming in. And what you're about to hear next was a first for Advent.
So my symptoms were the same. We actually had the same procedure on the same day. It was just a matter of, let's just do this. Why put it off?
An in-office procedure at Advent to get you breathing well is very convenient. And you shouldn't put it off, because breathing well changes lives.
I do remember the first deep breath.
Oh, I remember that.
The feeling of whoa, this is great.
Since then, breathing has gotten easier. Sleeping has gotten easier.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe ever, and now I can breathe. That's the best way I can put it.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted. Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's
Rob. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, no limit. The savings don't stop there. Pay no interest until 2030 plus $500 off your home improvement project. Restrictions apply. Call 317-659-7574. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Overcoming drug addiction is difficult. The road to recovery is different for everyone. Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm your host for the evening. We've hit the 7-inning stretch. We are at the end of the show right here. Let's close it out with a banger. Let's give some good information. We're going to tell you that you should have expected this the whole time from Trump. He always talked about this. He did an interview recently with Media Pool on Trump Force One. The market's been the big talk right now. If you turned off your TV, life is a little bit better. If you leave the TV on, you're probably in a state of panic. But a reporter asked Trump, what do you think about what's going on with the market right now?
Pain in the market. At some point, you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of what Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I think it's I don't want anything to go down. But sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country on a monthly basis. It's pouring. It's already started because they put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
So how does a country as strong as the United States have bad trade deals? How do we have this big deficit? We're importing everything and we have tariffs put on us. He explains a little bit more like we're losing money on trade and we're still supporting these people that are kind of screwing us over with these deals.
I've spoken to many countries. They all want to do, just so you understand the power of what I'm doing, every country is calling and being very solicitous of us. Very, very nice. They're being very nice. And we have to be able to justify. This is not sustainable. The United States can't lose $1.9 trillion on trade. We can't do that and also spend a lot of money on NATO in order to protect European nations. We cover them with military, then we lose money on trade. The whole thing is crazy. And I got elected on that basis. We explained it. The American people understand it a lot better than the media. But the media understands it. And much of the media writes correctly about it, I must say.
Yeah, and the media understands it, but they're not going to give him any wins. But did you hear what he said? We're losing money in trade deals, and we're losing money because we're providing support to them as well. They're double dipping, essentially, right? Like, why would they ever want to change anything? They are getting over completely. All right, so I know a lot of you guys are aware of the people we're sending to El Salvador. We're sending MS-13, illegal immigrants, all these people. We're getting rid of them. We're sending them down to Supermax prison down there. A reporter asked him what his thoughts were of of sending American thugs to El Salvador?
El Salvador, the president there said he would be willing to take American citizens in the federal prison population. Is that one of the ideas they're going to be discussing?
Well, I love that. If we could take some of our 20-time wise guys that push people into subways and that hit people over the back of the head and that purposely run people over in cars, if he would take them, I'd be honored to give them. I don't know what the law says on that, but I can't imagine the law would say anything different. If they can house these horrible criminals for a lot less money than it costs us, I'm all for it. But I'd only do according to the law. But I have suggested that, why should it stop just at people that cross the border illegally? We have some horrible criminals, American grown and born. And if we have somebody that bops an old woman over the head, if we have somebody that is in jail 20 times and goes back and shoots people all over the place and then has a bad judge or a bad prosecutor that do nothing about him, all they worry about is politics, they don't worry about that. I think if we could get El Salvador or somebody to take them, I'd be very happy with it, but I have to see what the law says.
Speaking of quote-unquote Americans being housed in El Salvador, there was somebody that is deported right now. There's a big case going on. You probably heard about the federal judge that ordered that this guy be returned. That was supposed to be by midnight today. Chief Justice Roberts put a stay on that so that guy doesn't have to come back today. But I'm very interested to see how this is going to work. I don't know that I necessarily agree with locking up Americans abroad, but I definitely don't agree that we should be spending our own money to lock up illegals here within the United States, right? Like, that's not our tax burden to carry. Okay, so Victor Davis Hanson, he's talking about Trump's tariffs, and he says it's a little weird that the left and the right have actually kind of swapped sides from how they used to be.
But what Donald Trump did was he said this Republican is going to side on this Republican is going to choose the side of the working man. It's not going to choose Wall Street. Wall Street hates Donald Trump. Have you ever seen anybody in this audience that's watching or listening? Has anybody ever in their wildest imagination think that Democrats would be on the floor of the Congress blasting Donald Trump and worried that Wall Street's going to be hurt and not talking one word about the working classes that are all for this?
Do you remember when the Democrats were like, we are the 99%? Do you remember that whole protest thing that was going on? They were supposed to be for the working man, the blue-collar worker. That's kind of changed now, right? The left is kind of led by people like Zuck and people with mega donors, Bezos, people like that. Well, he goes on to continue like, man, these people have actually, the aristocrats are on the other side now. The billionaires are on the other side now. Wake up. Like, they have switched sides. The right is now the working class.
And the final thing is, has it had any effects? Donald Trump says $4 trillion in foreign investment. The figures I've seen are commitments. They're not actualizations yet, but $3.1 trillion. If that comes in, $3.1 trillion, there'll be millions of jobs that come in here for people to avoid these tariffs. Because he's just saying, if you come in the United States and you want to help us, you can keep the profits. You just have to have the jobs here. If you're Mercedes-Benz and you get a 3 to 8% profit on your sales, fine. But the cost and the services and the labor is going to be here. You're going to pay for things here. And so it's going to be a boon to the interior of America. And the Democrats, because they have no other alternative agenda, they are taking the side of the uber rich, even while they blast oligarchs and aristocrats and plutocrats. No, you're on the side of plutocrats and aristocrats. You guys were the party of globalization under Bill Clinton that started it all off. You were the people who thought globalization was neat because you could wean the billionaire class over to your side, which is about 70% of them are on their side. So they are speaking in their interest. They're not speaking for the people of Pennsylvania or Michigan or Wisconsin, the working people.
There's been a flip. The right is the side of the working class now. That's why we had that talk earlier about the UAW. They're now supporting Donald Trump's policy. It's one of many, right? One of many. These unions are now waking up to the idea that maybe the people that we've supported aren't necessarily supporting us. But none of this should come as a surprise to you. Donald Trump talked about this back in 1988 when he went on Oprah.
We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
Donald Trump hasn't changed a bit. He hasn't changed a bit. And when you look at these tariffs, he has a book called The Art of the Deal where he references, ask for 4 times more than what you actually want. So when you only get half of what you ask for, you still won, and the other person feels like they got a great deal, right? 60% tariffs, but I will gladly settle for 20 because we're getting 6 now. Right? That's what this is all about. So when we look forward to the next election, I know there's talk of, Barack Obama versus Trump. I don't want to hear that at all. I'm not interested at all. But there is somebody who said, you know what? I'm probably going to leave the door open to run for president. That person is Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. All right. So some polls had shown him as one of the top candidates for the Democratic presidential nomination. Okay. He's continually denied that he'd be a candidate for office, but he's starting to reverse course. All right, he spoke to the NAB show in Las Vegas. He was asked by McVeigh Media president Mike McVeigh about his political aspirations. He shared he'd be able to go on the offensive. He said, look, and I'll give it to Stephen A. Smith. He's a shock jock, right? So he's good at running his mouth. So what he said is he can go on the offensive should he run for office due to his lack of political record and that he'd be able to eat the other candidates alive from their records. He's decided I'm no longer going to close the door. I'm going to keep the options open, and I'm going to entertain the possibility. And that's where the left is at now. They're just grabbing at straws. It's a popularity contest. No ideas. Stephen A. Smith has no ideas on how to help the country. He just is an entertainer that knows how to run his mouth. And that, look, they're asking for that. Okay? Hey, I've had an absolutely awesome evening with you guys tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me for the past hour. If you want to find some more on me, you can find me on Facebook, Jerry Lopez, or on Twitter/X, Indy Spanglish. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Tony will be back tomorrow, 93.1 Tony Kinnett Cast on WIBC and the Daily Signal.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-5